There ain't no underdog tag for you this year, you bloody Queenslanders. Obviously, New South Wales have more injuries than Turbo has hamstring injuries, so that says a lot. And even when they're going for a third series win in a row, New South Wales were probably still seen as favourites before the weekend. But now Queensland are firm favourites, and like always, like last year, picking a best 17 for Origin 1 for Queensland is one of the easiest rugby league videos to make of the year. So let's get straight into it. My best 17 for Origin Game 1 in Sydney. Let me know what changes you would make, because I honestly think that there could be some minor changes made to this team, but I think obviously the key players, well, they pick themselves, and it seems to be the case for Queensland nearly every single year. And I'm not going to try and build anticipation, so let's just get cracking onto it. Number 1, there is no Kalen Ponga, so obviously we're going to go Reece Walsh. Reece Walsh, in my opinion, on form is probably the best fullback in the competition right now. Edwards and Reece Walsh have really taken over as the best fullbacks in the current game. And what Reece Walsh is doing is changing the way fullbacks are being played once again. He honestly might be, out of the current group of players, the most impossible man to try and defend. His pace is absolutely electric. He's the best ball-playing fullback in the competition, and he's actually surprisingly strong for such a little bloke. He's only getting older, and he's going to have so much confidence going into this series. There were so many questions around him last series, and he absolutely stood up. He's got another year. He's got finals footy experience where he did play well under his belt. So I'm terrified of what Reece Walsh is going to be able to do to New South Wales in 2024. Now, the only reason this winger is maybe not in this team is because of an injury cloud, but Xavier Coates is having the best season so far of his career. Unfortunately, he's been injured with that hamstring the last few weeks, but he has been absolutely incredible so far. Better than he was playing at the Broncos, and it's the best stint he's had at the Melbourne Storm so far. I think, in my opinion, he has become the best winger in the competition at the beginning part of this 2024 season. He's so incredible. He's probably the best finisher. He's so fast, and he's being a good defender this year as well. So he has all the makings of a good winger. He's also played well in Origin before. I know he's been left out a couple times, but he simply can't go past his form this year. If the injury cloud is there and unfortunately is ruled out, then I go Murray Taulagi. But Xavier Coates for me is easily the number 1 pick on the wing, and he's playing on that left edge. Partnering him at centre, and he's probably Queensland's best Origin player last series, and well, he's probably the most electrifying back in the entire competition. Hamiso Tabuai-Fidow, I don't know what confidence he got marking Turbo from 2021 Game 3, but ever since, he has been a staple of this Queensland backline. He's almost been Queensland's Turbo and Latrell Mitchell, because he has been so good, not just for the Dolphins, but also Queensland. Making that move to the Dolphins and becoming their fullback has made him a superstar, and now he's probably the number 1 picked outside back when it comes to Australia, let alone Queensland. So I'm terrified with a new centre who's going to be in there for New South Wales. But for Queensland, you should be getting very excited, because having Reece Walsh and having him passing it to the hammer, that is speed that maybe no one in the history of rugby league human beings is going to be able to defend. My other centre, another guy who picks himself, Valentine Holmes. Unfortunately, hasn't been great to start this year, but we all know what Val Holmes is like playing for Queensland. He's still a great defensive centre, even if he is playing in a team that can't defend to save their own coach's existence. So Valentine Holmes is easily my right centre. Did struggle in Game 3 last year against Bradman Best, but unfortunately, having one bad game for Queensland is alright when you've had 50,000 good ones. Of partnering in, he's been great at centre this year, probably in the best form he's ever had at club footy, but Selwyn Cobbo is easily 100% locked into this side. Like I said, I actually think this is the best club form Selwyn Cobbo has ever shown, and he has been absolutely electric for the Brisbane Broncos so far to start this year. He has tended to be quiet in times on the wing, but obviously I think he'll definitely be not doing that when he's playing for Queensland. There's also Murray Taulagi, who didn't have a great start to last year, but obviously did a great job in Origin. So I don't think Xavier Coates or Selwyn Cobbo will ruin the opportunity to be the state of Origin wingers. And Cobbo, as good as he's been at centre, and I think that's his long-term position at the Brisbane Broncos, he is literally the perfect winger for Origin, and it's the same with Xavier Coates. And both of them are threats in the air, have strong ball carries, and actually tend to be very good defenders. Maybe Cobbo has too many errors in him, and that's the one trouble I see with this Queensland's backline, but they'll find a way to put those away in the Origin arena, because that Queensland jersey, as much as I hate to say it, seems like a bloody superpower. I'm not saying it's a good thing, I'm saying that Queensland are cheating. In the halves now, and just recycle what I said from last year and the year before, but the best rep football halves pairing of this generation post the 8 in a row era, Cameron Munster and DCE. Munster has been turning on the last few weeks, and with Nathan Cleary being out, while he has struggled in the past last 2 weeks to put games away. DCE has been the best halfback of the competition so far in 2024. These two are in such good form, and yeah, this one is a no-brainer. Maybe DCE's final Origin series potentially, so he'll want to go out winning 3 in a row because he has navigated this post-dynasty period for Queensland so well. And the fact that I think he might end up with a winning record as Queensland captain, and it's honestly just a joke considering how high we were on New South Wales after 2019 and 2021. But congrats to him. Cameron Munster, probably the best representative player. You're partnering with the best representative halfback. These two almost make it impossible to beat Queensland. Now, this is where a few people are tossing and turning because unfortunately Queensland will be without Big Tino, and it looks like Tommy Flegler is also going to be out for State of Origin Game 1. Those are probably 2 of the top 5 props in the world right now, so that is a huge blow for Queensland. Unfortunately, it's a shame New South Wales don't have the best depth there in those positions, but I do see this being a pretty weak point for Queensland until you actually pick the team and you realise how bloody good it is. So let's just go with the last year's Wally Lewis medalist, Reuben Cotter. I've seen a lot of people putting him on the bench because he can cover the back row, but for me, you're playing him 80 minutes in the middle. He's playing 80 minutes no matter what, because starting him off the bench, I think, is a waste for a player as good as Reuben Cotter has shown in the Origin arena. He's one of the players that Billy Slater has built his Queensland team around in recent years, so Reuben Cotter is my first prop pick. He's probably playing 80 minutes, whether that's in the middle or whether he has to go out on an edge or in centre and cover it, and probably do a magnificent job because, well, Queensland jersey is a cheat code. At number 9, again, sort of like the halves, Benny Hunt, and spoiler alert, you know who the 14 is, but these two have been such a good 1-2 punch. Benny Hunt, another guy who could be looking at one of his last potential Origin series. I know he might want to hang on so he can get maybe 1 to 2 series at halfback once DCE moves on, but he's going to do a job. He's going to play his first 20. I think Harry Grant might get more minutes at dummy half this year because I do think when Billy Slater started Grant at number 9 last year in the dead rubber, that was sort of a transitioning period. So I'm not sure how Ben Hunt's role will change. It'll probably be the same thing. I might be reading too much into it. I'm legit just trying to think of things to say so this video isn't 5 minutes long. And we just talked about the Wally Lewis medalist. In the other front row spot was probably my choice for the Wally Lewis medalist. Lindsay Collins hasn't started at Origin yet so far this year, but he was absolutely incredible last year. I think he's easily capable of playing big minutes. He was close to putting in 80-minute games at the end of last year's final series for the Sydney Roosters, and well, he's the leader of that forward pack. Hasn't been great to start this year, but I don't even think he was last year, and look how he turned it on in the Origin arena. He's probably going to jump over a fullback or a winger to score. He might get a hat-trick in one of these Origin games. Lindsay Collins is a freak, and he's easily, with no Tommy Flegler and no Tino, starting for Queensland. Another guy who picks himself off the back of a cheeky backflip. Look how well it worked out for DCE. David Fafita. He's staying in the Gold Coast long term, and he's easily the left back rower. You partner him next to Cameron Munster, and the New South Wales right edge won't know who to tackle, which is absolutely terrifying. I don't think we've seen the best of David Fafita at the Origin arena, but he's a job doer for Queensland, and he played great last series. He plays great in most games he plays. I'm absolutely terrified. The other back rower spot, now I've gone with Jeremiah Nanai. You could see him on the bench in place of the guy who I've got on the bench. Those two are pretty interchangeable. I've gone with Nanai because he has proven it. He can do it. I'll never forget in 2022 Game 3, one of the best Origins of all time. He came in there, was next to DCE, and he was absolutely phenomenal. I think he starts on that right back rower edge, and I think he'll be absolutely phenomenal, like I just said. And number 13, it's Pat Carrigan, the sexiest man in rugby league, the best lock in rugby league, the future Queensland captain, another guy who picks himself, and he has been absolutely phenomenal. Can start at lock, move into the front row. He's going to play the same way. The best offloader, never makes an error, never misses a tackle, and he still does the trick plays. He still does the fancy stuff, and he still will fly out of the line and hit the shit out of you. So Paddy Carrigan easily for me rounds out the starting 13. We're absolutely cooked. And then quickly onto the bench, I've got Harry Grant in 14. He'll probably play most of his minutes at dummy half. Another year for him. He's the captain of the Melbourne Storm now. He's playing some great footy. Probably the form dummy half of the competition. Number 15, Maui Fodawaker. The front row is a bit concerning when it comes to the depth. Maui didn't have a great start of the year, but as the Titans have played better, it's been off the back of him coming off the best game of his season so far. I'm not sure if he'll play big minutes. He might have to because there really is no one else. Cotter, Collins, Carrigan, the 3 Cs, they can play big minutes, so Maui probably only has to do a little stint. Number 16, I've got Hopgood making his Origin debut. debut. I just think another ball-playing lock, another point of difference, and a work guy. A guy who's going to make as many tackles as he can, a guy who's going to do the tough stuff. I think he can make his Origin debut. Corey Horsburgh would have this position, but unfortunately Corey has had a horrible start to the year when it comes to injuries. So Jermaine Hopgood pips him because I do think he's been Parramatta's best forward. And number 17 making his return to the Origin arena is Jaden Sewer. Sewer has been so good under Shane Flanagan. I wouldn't push back on people who wanted Beau Fermor in there because he has been great in the past month. I just think Sewer has had a more consistent season, and I think he can provide a real point of difference off the bench compared to the other two back rowers. So looking at that 17, it was pretty easy to pick. There's some conversations around the middle forwards, especially with all the injuries there, but this Queensland team, the spine's unreal. It picks itself. It's absolutely horrifying when I look at it, and I just want to end this video so I stop talking up Queensland. But ladies and gentlemen, especially you Queenslanders, let me know about my 17 in that comment section down below. Do you agree or not with this filthy cockroach? Smash that like button, subscribe if you haven't yet already, and I'll see you in the next one.